Oh, really?
Watching build up.
That Walmart building.
It's still.
I gotta talk to the mayor. She's jumping this place up.
Park on here too.
I'm glad I'm not on the Board of Adjustment.
Are we good?
You are good. Anytime you would like to start.
The scheduled meeting for the planning and zoning for the town of Smyrna is called to order. We will dispense with the pledge of allegiance at this time. And we will, roll is taken. We have minutes from our last meeting. I would ask that, is there a motion to approve?
I'll set a motion to approve minutes from
Second.
September 24th.
Question on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I would just like to make sure that for the record that we understand that we are broadcasting under
Facebook
YouTube,
Live.
Facebook.
Facebook
things.
Live, I believe.
They can hear us, but they don't get to talk to us. So just to let you all know that. I don't believe there's any additions or deletions to the public agenda. And so based on recommendation, what I would like to do is to switch number 6 and number 7
Yes.
at this time. So we will begin with a parking waiver of 2 off-street parking spaces for proposed single-family dwelling at 121 Northeast Street. Mr. Rothwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know many of you got to hear the presentation for the variance. This is a vacant lot, 30-foot wide, very small, like many streets in the downtown area, have very, narrow lots. This particular street along, or segment of the street along Northeast Street. This vacant lot has been vacant since 1971, or excuse me, 1978. A similar house was demolished by the town, and it was subsequently purchased at tax sale in 1998 and has remained vacant ever since 1978. The applicant, as shown here, is proposing to construct a 20-foot wide, 2-story house similar to the one that was previously demolished. Due to the very narrow width of all of these lots, none of these lots along Northeast Street, with the exception of the corner lot, has a driveway or can accommodate any off-street parking. So all parking is on street. The only thing that I would point out, based upon the compared to, say, Delaware Street, there is parking on one side of the street. Some people park on both sides of the street, so there is it's approximately 34-foot wide street. But unlike on, say, Delaware Street, where a parking waiver had you had granted previously, there is only on this particular street, there's only homes on one side. There's other uses on the other side, but they are not residential uses that generate a significant amount of parking. So with that, just as a reminder, every new single family home has to have 2 off-street parking spaces, but in this particular instance, to be able to rebuild a home that, of a similar size that had been demolished, they need to be able to get a parking waiver. And as a reminder, there are a series of warrants to be able to grant a parking waiver. And I would point, there are 4 different ones there on page 5 of my staff report. I would point you to number 4, where on-street parking and loading areas are provided by. As part of staff has actually had to go out and do a parking inventory for our downtown streets at 4 different times in the past 2 weeks, and we've got to see all of these streets at different times of the day. This particular street rarely has cars parked, that are anywhere close to being full. Unlike there are certain streets that are typically always full of parking. Delaware Street, is oftentimes one of those streets. This particular street very rarely has more than a couple of cars parked in front of it. So they are predominantly single family homes. So most of these homes have one car, sometimes two. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. The applicant is here to be able to answer any questions as well.
Any commissioner have a question on the staff report?
They're not, just a clarification, they're not asking for specific 2 spots. No,
No, so
they're just going.
our code requires an applicant to provide two off-street parking spaces. In this particular instance, to build a house on the lot, we do not, in the downtown residential district, we do not permit parking in front of the house. Like you can't have a driveway, and have 2 cars and then have the house behind it, because the purpose of the downtown residential district is to have houses close to the street, like all the rest of the street. The rest of the houses are 2 to 3 feet from the property line in terms of from the street. So to have a house that would be set back, say 30 feet or something like that, that would be out of character for the community. And that's why that standard is in place. Does that make sense?
Scott, to answer the other part of the question, I think what he was asking, Jeremy, was the only permitted on-street parking is through handicapped. You can't get two ones in front of his house. Okay. That's not what he's asking. So all we're going to do is say, yes, you can build and don't need the parking places, and where your people park, we don't know,
That's right.
so,
Use your money, takes your chances.
okay. Any other, yes,
So is there parking allowed across the street, or you said that that's no parking on the other side?
It is actually,
But it's,
so certain streets in town,
yeah,
they restrict parking to one side of the street. This
Right.
particular street does not.
okay,
But because it's 34 feet in width, generally an on-street parking space is
Mhm.
generally 6 to 7 feet in width, typically 7.
mhm.
So it's not quite wide enough to have parking on both sides, but there are certain streets, South Street, for instance,
Yeah.
where you sometimes have parking on both sides,
Mhm.
but it requires what's called queuing,
Mhm.
where a car has to wait, as another car goes through. Because
Or people know how to stay on their side of the street.
or
I go down South Street all the time. There's plenty of room for 2 cars, but people don't know how to drive.
right. So in this particular instance,
Not the street.
in this particular instance, it's not placarded for parking on one side of the street.
Mhm.
However, if you were to do a cross section, it's really only have parking for one side of the street. But it's not, you can technically have parking on both sides.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I don't want to belabor the point, but we do these waivers all the time. And we kind of know what the lots look like that require a waiver. And so again, I say that at some point, far in the future, I'm sure, we might want to consider modifying our regulations to recognize that when there's no land left on the lot after you build the house, that there's no parking requirement. That's my opinion. Thank you.
thank you, appreciate that. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
No.
The applicant want to tell us anything that
No,
hasn't been said?
pardon?
Anything that hadn't been said?
No, sir.
Okay, that's fine. I don't want to shut you off there. Is there anyone, anything you'd like to add? Okay. And is there anyone here else who would speak in favor?
I would just say, that most of these residents that are on that street, they park on, East North Street in front of my building, on that, where Colonial Motors and that, what's the name of that church building that's there? You know where I'm talking. That's where they
Understand,
park.
yeah.
That's where everybody parks that lives on that street.
Usually about
I,
30.
Just
I,
to give you a little clarification, I see it all the time.
thank you very much, sir. I don't see anyone else in the audience that may wish to speak against it. So that being said, is there any other questions by commissioners? Is there a motion to approve?
I will put a motion to approve the parking waiver for 121 Northeast Street, Smyrna, Delaware.
Second.
Question on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and I guess we can state our reason, just to put it there, since you had it written down in your staff report. So is everybody in agreement with number 4?
You're in agreement with number 4.
Okay. I would like to say, now that we're past that, because I don't like getting myself in trouble, when the Little League field was there and games were played, there was never a parking problem. So, we'll let it go that way.
Yes.
All right, and it was a nice Little League field, because right afterwards we'd go to Dairy Queen and get an ice cream cone. Thank you. You're free. You may go back to Milford.
It's on the Kent side of that.
That makes a big difference. I wasn't gonna go there.
I'm literally right there, that river, was it Silver Lake? I'm right there. but-
Okay, all right. You're safe up here then. All right, good enough. Thank you. Thank you all very much, for that. And, the next item is a public hearing to consider the following application, and that is, to rezone 115 East North Street and 121 East North Street from local commercial to corridor commercial. Mr. Rothwell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is, again, this is a application for rezoning, ATM Properties LLC to rezone 2 parcels, approximately 0.42 acres in combined area from LC local commercial to CCM corridor commercial for the purpose of redevelopment for mixed use development. So this application was duly advertised in the Delaware State News on October the 12th. It was posted and advertised at Town Hall on October the 8th. It was posted on the subject property on October the 8th, and it was mailed to the property owner and abutting property owners on October the 8th. So these particular 2 parcels, the applicant, who you may or may not know, was the one who redeveloped the former Dairy Suite building, where it's a 2-story mixed-use building where Marmory's Creamery is located on the 1st floor, and Mr. Johnson's computer repair business is on the 2nd floor. He recently purchased these 2 lots. They have 2 pre-existing buildings that were built in the 1960s and 1980s respectively. It was most recently well, actually it was a barbershop most recently. It was a florist for a long, barbershop now. It was a florist I remember for a very long time.
'60s, it started out as a pizzeria. And then, it was, a doctor's office and then a florist. And now, and believe it or not, I learned the florist that owned it was actually a relative to the person that owned the Dairy Suite.
Oh.
Ireland. Just a little history there for you. And now the barbershop owner is Fabian that owns the school across the street on Arrow 13.
The other building is a former single family dwelling. It's most recently used as a daycare. What the applicant is proposing, so these 2 particular parcels, this is from the future land use map on our 2020 comprehensive plan. So as you may remember, all the parcels that directly front onto US 13 as part of the master plan, the Route 13 master plan, all the properties directly fronting 13 were rezoned and identified for rezoning to corridor commercial. This near the intersections of Glenwood Avenue and US 13 and the intersection at North Street and US 13, the block going to North Street and to Main Street respectively, you have pre-existing buildings and commercial uses, low density, single story buildings. And we had, you may remember in 2019 and 2020, we had a lot of discussion about should we require corridor commercial on all of the parcels going all the way to Main Street or North Street, essentially to complete an entire block. The Planning Commission at the time, three of you were there. The Planning Commission opted to identify this area as transitional corridor commercial that would not require the property to be rezoned to corridor commercial, but it would allow a future property owner to rezone if they chose to redevelop. So it wanted to respect the buildings and the uses that were already there and give them the ability to retain their existing lower density zoning, but it allowed an option if somebody wanted to redevelop that they could upzone the property to corridor commercial. And Mr. Johnson is proposing to demolish these two older buildings to put a similar building, and I'll allow him to describe a similar building to what he already constructed where Marmore's Creamery is, a two-story mixed-use building with first floor commercial and a second floor apartment or two. So with that, I would, and this is outlined in our comprehensive plan, both in the text and in the map. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding this application.
Anybody? Okay. Mr. Johnson, anything you'd like to add, sir?
I plan on building a building using the same materials that I have at the first building. I'm calling it phase 2. And, you know, I'm gonna use the same chocolate, dark brown siding, same basic brick. You know, I did special bricks, so it's different colors, kind of fits into the Smyrna Opera House is where I got my inspiration for the brick. I want to do the same kind of thing on the second building. First floor would be commercial. The barber shop will be moving in to that space, and then hopefully there'll be enough room for a second space, but we'll see how that goes. And then of course on the second floor, have a couple, 2 or 3 apartments for multi-use. That make a multi-use building. I think it would be really nice. It'll clean up that whole side. I wish I had bought the church there on that corner, and this would definitely do a lot better, but it is what it is. And if Ernesto would sell me that grassy lot behind there, just imagine what we could go up over there.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
in this total configuration, one thing, I go there a lot to that parcel. I like ice cream. Do you think there's going to be any improvement in the overall parking allocations there? I know a lot of people park when the ice cream shop gets busy in the sort of alleyway there, and how's that whole configuration in your mind going to look?
Well, we did a proof of concept with the engineer.
Yeah.
And the parking has to be behind the building
Yeah.
that we put up. So the parking will be closer to that grassy lot, and which kind of puts it down the alley. So will they be able to use it? It depends on the number of apartments that we put up there. And the barbershop doesn't use a ton of parking, especially in the evenings. So I would imagine there will be additional parking spots there, as long as the people want to walk, because what I find is they don't like walking very far to get their ice cream.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, no.
But yeah, and in my business, we're closed at 5 o'clock, and my crew leaves, and that leaves, you see all that parking clear out there
Right.
along the alley.
Yeah, my only suggestion would be talk to your engineers when they do that, because again, walking, you know, some sidewalks, some arrangement of sidewalks there would probably be helpful.
Well, you know, I presented to the town a few years back to actually help, you know, I'd like to acquire that section of the alley. and just
Yeah.
close that off and create a big old parking lot.
Yeah, there you go.
But, that didn't go through. So
Well, you might want to try again if this proposal goes through.
I think they came up to an ownership, who owned it? Nobody really knows.
Lawyers can figure that out. That's what they do.
Based on title searchers.
Quick claims deeds.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So
Yeah.
we'll be able to review the site plan when it comes up.
Yes, so
Yeah,
the
so
site,
this
the
is
si-
just the reason.
this is,
We'll have an opportunity.
See,
to review
again,
some
this
more.
is where,
Yeah.
remember our first day in training?
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but half of what you've heard has nothing to do with what is before us, okay?
Right.
I don't mean that in a
Understand.
negative factor.
Mhm.
So what we are approving is that this goes from what's its own now to corridor commercial.
Correct.
What happens after that? Yes, they have to come back to
We'll
us.
do that.
And I think, what Mr. McGrath was saying was
Mhm.
parking is always an issue,
Mhm.
things are,
Yeah.
but basically it should not sway our decision this evening on this.
On the reason.
How they do. Isn't that what they told us
That
in
is
that class?
exactly what they told us.
I thought
was
so.
just double
All
checking.
right, I just want to make sure.
All I was
Make
doing
sure
was
you're
giving
paying
a
attention.
hint of what's important.
I understand that. Is there a motion to approve,
I'll make a motion to approve.
recommend.
recommend?
Recommend.
I make a motion to recommend the rezoning to corridor commercial.
Second motion.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate what you bring to the town. I would like to say that just like on Main Street, it is interesting to see we've got a dog tail on this one too. On the left.
Very strange.
All right.
don't say.
Okay. All right, I'd like to thank everybody this evening. As we move forward, does any commissioner have anything they wish to say? Yes.
Two things that came up from our training that we were in. So this was the University of Delaware's Institute for Public Administration, local government training. So it was great. They had a whole course on planning commissions, right? And the question that came up from that was that we should see if we can get emails from the town address potentially. So it's not our personal email that we're using when we're corresponding about
I'll have to see if
planning
we
and zoning
can
issues.
set them up. I don't
Okay,
think they
yeah,
do,
if you want to
so-
ask about it, let me know. If not, I'll make a new Gmail account or something, so.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
and the reason that was brought up, and I will say that,
For FOIA requests.
so they're not getting our personal email.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's one. What else you got?
The other question, I believe you reached out to Jeremy previously, was there a copy of the annual report on the comp plan? Was that what we asked about? The comp plan?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
We submit it every
Okay.
year. We don't post it online.
Okay, I
but
was gonna
if you'd
say,
like it, if you'd like a
if you
copy,
could send me a copy.
Sure.
that'd be Great.
Yeah, they
And
can do
then,
that. That's- pretty simple.
yeah, he was on top of that.
You got it, yeah.
Yeah, July.
I was in
They
my
brought it up,
office.
you were
I was
like,
in my
"Oh."
office when Biff
Yeah.
called me.
Yeah. July 7th is when they did it too, okay?
Perfect.
So,
Okay.
anything?
Yeah, for good of the order,
Yes.
am I correct? Is this Jeremy Rothwell's last meeting here?
No, I haven't. We haven't changed anything yet.
Okay, all right. Just a couple things real quick. I know that we're on schedule, 9 minutes from my bedtime. I am pleased to see infilling, Jeremy.
Yep.
And I am
Yeah.
glad to see that. I think, one of the things as we move forward, as we do more of this, there could be more parking waivers. So, however we find that it would be beneficial to handle that in a easier manner would be something that we could look at. I would say that I did not bring it up. I missed it on the property on Delaware Street. And I really believe that when we're putting houses on small lots, that we have to address the drainage.
Mhm.
Because what they're doing is they run the downspouts right next door.
Mhm.
And this house will do the exact same thing. So I bring that up. I am a firm believer that Delaware Street and places on Main Street and places on South Street did it right 120 years ago. They
Right.
put it down into a pipe
Is it-
and ran the pipe out into the street to get the water away from the house. So I would ask that staff look at, as we go with that.
I'll ask Gabby to send an email maybe to Cody, just to, if we can just, when the permit comes in, that's a relatively simple thing.
Okay.
Especially in
Gabby,
lots that are that narrow.
Gabby, next time I will bypass him and just speak to you directly. Okay? And that'll save part of this going on. The other thing is, I want to say, Jeremy, thanks for the training. Thank you for bringing it up. I was able to attend the first two, and I'll tell you what I actually learned. I learned that we do a good job, meaning you do a good job, your staff reports are good, our minutes are good, the information that we're putting out there and how we handle ourselves is good. And the person also that does well is Barrett, who makes sure that we do good and not act dumb. and is able to tell me when I'm doing dumb without making me feel dumb. So I will say this, and I've said it before and I'll say it to staff every time. Tell us what we need to know, not what you think I want to hear, and keep me out of trouble. All right, because we've got a good track record on what we do here, and we really do. So thank you. The last thing I have is, it was brought up about the parking. Parking is always an issue. I don't care where it is. It could be an issue out on Lake Drive for all I know. But one of the things in looking at the picture across from the property that we just rezoned, there is a car dealership who uses that street as their lot. I think that is something that council ought to address, right? Oh, no, I wasn't opening up for you to come across that. Now, go ahead.
I just want to mention that, I may be buying that car dealership property.
Then you'll get the cars off the street.
Yeah,
But
they'll be gone.
but I'm just saying, that is something that, you have to look at when you have these type of, issues, because I will agree with what Mike said. People don't like walking. Now, they'll go to the mall, park as close as they possibly get, and then walk for 3 hours through the place. But if they had to walk 3 minutes further, they wouldn't do it. Anyway, I understand parking problems. I understand that, et cetera. But I don't know what you can do about that.
I can, no, I'm not code enforcement. The issue that is in play there, and you occasionally see this, is for cars to be parked in a driveway or on a public street, they have to be tagged.
Mhm.
As long as cars are tagged, then that is legal. If the cars are not tagged, then we have the ability to issue a code enforcement violation.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, it just, to me, when you have a business that's on the corner and that,
I think it's
and
very,
parking is an issue, right? And then we have another owner who ropes off handicap parking for whatever reason, is illogical to me, right? It just, parking is a problem wherever you go, right? So, just good luck. Mean that.
and I will say too, so we did get approval the mayor finally appointed a steering committee for our downtown development district plan. And as part of that, Ivy and I have already gone out on 3 dates in 3 different weeks at 3 different times of the day, morning, afternoon, and in the evening. And we did a complete parking inventory and parking counts for on-street and for public and private parking lots for all of our central commercial area, not like Mount Vernon Street, or the end of South Street, but for your central commercial district, which is essentially like a 6-block area, 4 to 6 block. We have done that. So stay tuned. We will have at least one public meeting, and we'll be able to, you'll be able to see that and see the results of that parking survey that was done.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing about in parking, that's great, but that is something that is definitely needed to do. the town and this commission, speaking to the mayor and council, there are ways to manage parking on the streets. In a prior life, I was involved in this with several communities in Newcastle County. And economic development, particularly with the downtown redevelopment people that are trying to promote businesses or out where you are, there's things you can do with time limits, markings on the street. You know, there's a whole host of things you can do to manage that problem. They may be permitted to park there if they've got a tag, but how about putting 30-minute limit there? Town can do that, put a 30-minute limit on that corner, and that guy's cars would have to disappear.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not just a matter of whether they're legal to park them. The town can manage that street parking by how you sign the street, how you mark the street, time limits in various places. And although business owners aren't keen on it, studies have shown, and they eventually learn that it does help to put time limits in the business district so they get turnover in the cars. It helps the business, right? You don't want people parking there for 6 hours when you're trying to run a retail business, right? So those things can all be looked at, hopefully, as you follow up on your survey that you
I
did.
encourage you, when we schedule a public meeting, I will invite all of you. Most of you live in the downtown. Actually, all of you live in the downtown, so.
I'm
Yeah.
giving up on my street. The gentleman, just to bring to conclusion, the gentleman who came up to you questioning the time
Mhm.
of the meeting prior to this one, apparently he wanted to be here for the Board of Adjustment and not us, as you can see. I just brought up the town website and the meetings that are listed, the Board of Adjustment's not on there.
Oh, no.
Their agenda is on there, or their that. But under Wednesday, November the 5th, the only thing on there is ours. So that's what he was referring to. All right, so I'm not, and it was on there previously. You know, earlier, I mean, not today. So don't you frown when I'm bringing up something like that. Without objection, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? You're not seeing it? No, come here. I'll show you if you don't mind. I mean, don't trip on your wire, then you'll be holding that again.
So you're gonna be going, this will go to town.
That's what he had up.
Next Monday.
Yeah, because it's already passed.
So,
So you have to click on the date.
yeah. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
I go on vacation tomorrow.
Right, but if he would have, because he was.
Okay,
past the-
good.
past the time.
9:00 tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right, look forward to it.
That's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Your IT people ought not to
just
take that off until the next day.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm
Because
Yeah, I don't know
I'm
how.
going in for my.
I know.
Technically.
I know. But all that does is upset somebody. So you go to the next, you go to the other
I'm doing the
two?
full series and then
Yeah.
they're rescheduling the last one. So the one I just attended was
Land use?
land use law with Max Walton. So
How'd that
it was
go?
Very interesting.